Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my Manifestation Masterclass. Today, I want to share with you insights from the book, The Science of Getting Rich, the original classic, and it is written by Wallace D. Wattles. I want to share with you this book. I've read it a few times, and I want to share my perspective on it based on my own experience and also other teachings that I have learned along the way. Now, remember to subscribe to this channel and to follow this channel so that you get notified every time that I have a new video. So let's get into this book. So there's a science to getting rich. And what the author states is that anyone who follows these steps step by step, if they don't get rich, then he would say that, all right, this doesn't work, but he's yet to be proven wrong. So at this point, he is sternly, he stands behind his words, and that if you follow every step in this book, you will definitely get rich. And he is yet to be proven wrong. So nobody have followed these steps and said it didn't work. So this book is actually a reproduction of the version that was written in 1910. So this material is quite old. But yeah, I would love to share a few snippets because sometimes we don't get time to read books. And I have highlighted the most important things that stood out for me in this book. And I want to share this with you. So you will get a short version of this book, but you will get the essence. And I'm sharing these lessons with you. And so, yes, I'm going to start. I'm starting in chapter 3. So as you know, all books, have, introduction and so on and some background. All right. So what I've highlighted from chapter 3 is there is no limit to the supply of formless stuff or original substance. So how I understand this is original substance is what I believe what everything is made of. And you will maybe agree with me that everything is made of energy. And if you break that down, it's made out of atoms. So that is the original substance. Everything that you can see around you is made up of this formless stuff, the energy that everything is made of. Your body, the chair that you're sitting on, the book that I'm having in my hands is all energy and atoms. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short. If you look at nature, now we are in spring, so we can see all the trees, blooming and all the blossoms and the new leaves. It's so beautiful. So nature it will never run short. There's no winter where there will not be a spring after winter. So it will never run short. There is an unlimited supply of this original stuff. The formless stuff, the formless stuff is intelligent. It is stuff which thinks, it is alive, and is always impelled towards more life. The universe is a great living presence, always moving inherently toward more life and fuller functioning. So everything that exists is inherently moving towards more functioning, towards growth. It reminds me of Maslow's hierarchy. Even us as human beings, we have this inner drive within each person that we want to reach that the top of his triangle, which is, your full expression. At the top is self-actualization. Each and every person have that inner drive, whether you like it or not, where you want to express yourself to the fullest, express and experience life to the fullest. So everything is living, everything in life is always moving towards more expression, towards growth. And then he goes on to say that thought is the only power which can produce tangible riches from the formless substance. A thought of form in this substance produces the form. So if I have a thought of something. If you look at everything around you, the chair that you're sitting on, the book that I'm reading, the laptop, the cell phone, it started in someone's mind as an idea, an inspiration, a thought. Okay, so a thought of form in this substance produces the form. So to me, it says that whatever you think, it will create itself, in the physical reality. Now, when man has a thought form, now to me, I see it as imagination. So it's quite highly, written in a different type of, it's quite highly written. When man has a thought form, he takes material from the forms of nature and makes an image of the form which is in his mind. He has so far made little or no effort to cooperate with formless intelligence, to work with the Father. He has not dreamed that he can do what he seeth the Father doing. Okay? He has given no attention to the question whether he may not produce things from formless substance by communicating his thoughts to it. Thought in thinking substance produces shapes. Man is a thinking center, capable of original thought. And then he summarizes again, there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. So it's not just about thinking thoughts, it's about imagining, and it seems like there's an action that needs to take, as part of this process. It is not just thinking about it, it's thinking how to create that. In what way can I manifest that thing? A man's way of doing things is the direct result of the way he thinks about things. To do things in a way you want to do them, you will have to acquire the ability to think the way you want to think. This is the first step towards getting rich. All right, so if you want to be rich and successful, whatever you want to achieve, you have the ability to change your thoughts and choose what you want to think. What would you think about when you have already achieved that success and financial wealth, financial freedom? How will you think? We tend to feel that we are the victim of our mind, that we don't have control of what we think about. But the opposite is true. We need to take control of our mind, our thinking, and discipline the mind. But the important thing is you need to know what you need to replace that thought with, because you can't tell the mind, stop thinking negatively, stop thinking, stop being so pessimistic. The mind thinks in pictures. So you have to replace the negative or the pessimistic thoughts. You have to replace it with what you want to think, which means you have to reflect and ask yourself, what would I like to think about? How would I want to think? So that you can replace those negative thoughts as they arise. To think what you want is to think what you want to think is to think truth regardless of appearance. Very important. To think truth regardless of appearance is laborious and requires the expenditure of more power than any other work man is called upon to perform. Okay, very important. Yet it is a simple instruction. It is not easy. Okay, he is affirming the fact that it's going to require more power than any other work that you've ever been called upon to do. So it's not easy. Dr. Joe Dispenza often, refers to mind above matter, and that is what he's referring to. To have your mind focus on the truth of what you want, even though your appearances, your surroundings is not showing it yet. And this is the hardest thing to do. We all get in that limbo state where we keep manifesting and doing our goals and then nothing happens. It's in those moments that we shouldn't give up. He continues to say that it is the hardest work in the world. This is especially true when truth is contrary to appearances. It's very, very important. One of my clients can also attest to this. So holding the thought of the truth. And what is this truth? He says the truth is that there is only abundance. Okay? Only abundance exists. Use nature to help you believe that only abundance exists. Abundance of leaves on a tree and sprouts of grass and abundance of air that we breathe every moment. There's only abundance. Then he affirms what he says. He repeats quite a lot of what he teaches in the chapters. And he says, there is one thinking substance from which and by which all things are made. The science of getting rich begins with the absolute acceptance of this faith. So it is about having that faith, seeing only the truth, holding on to the truth in your mind, even though your circumstances is not showing it to you. It is hard work. Chapter 5, Increasing Life. The intelligent substance, which is all and in all, and which lives in all and lives in you, is a consciously living substance. So I like the way where he brings in different terminologies, intelligent substance, in other places, God or source, universe. He brings in the different languages of all the same thing, the intelligence substance, which is in all, which is all and lives all around us. It is a living substance. It's not dead. It's living. It's a living force. It is essential, however, that your purpose should harmonize with the purpose that is in all. Okay, so this is also very, very important. You must want real life, not mere pleasure of sensual gratification. The individual really lives only when he performs every function, physical, mental, and spiritual, of which he is capable without access in any. Then he gives examples. You do not want to get rich in order to live swinishly for the gratification of animal desires. That is not life. You do not want to get rich solely to enjoy mental pleasures, to get knowledge, to gratify ambition, to outshine others, or to be famous. You do not want to get rich solely for the good of others, to lose yourself for the salvation of mankind. The joys of the soul are only part of life, and they are no better or nobler than any other part. You want to get rich in order that you may eat, drink, and be merry when it is time to do these things, in order that you may surround yourself with beautiful things, see distant lands, feed your mind, and develop your intellect, in order that you may love men and do kind things, and be able to play a good part in helping the world to find truth. Now, I think it's for this reason why it took me such a long time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. There was one truth that I knew in my heart was that I'm an entrepreneur. So when I was still back in my corporate career, I had this dream, this wish to have my own business. I just want to work for myself, be my own boss, because I know I had this entrepreneurial spirit within me. But that's the only truth that I knew back then. So I was always thinking about how, what business can I start, and what will be a successful business. And because I had that intention in my mind, I did attract the ideas and the inspiration to give me exactly what I wanted back then, because all I wanted was to have my own business. So I will get great ideas. For example, the one idea was, one of the first ideas was with my first marriage, It sounds weird if I say that, but anyways, it took me such a long time to compare services, because I have my budget for my wedding, and I had to compare venue prices. And if you've ever done comparisons of venues and catering and so on, you will see that there's so many differentiators. For example, one venue will have waiters included, the other one will have it excluded, others will whatever. So you have to rent extra stuff in. So it took me months, to do proper like comparisons to see which venue is actually the best and the cheapest and so forth, or that will fit into my budget. And I got the idea, almost like Hippo, which compares, insurance quotes. That was the idea, the inspiration I got, to have this platform where people can compare, prices in terms of venues. And for whoever's listening and wants to take that idea, you're welcome. I'm not going to, use that idea. And the thing is, when I get an idea and the inspiration, I would do the work in terms of doing the research. I will write the business plan, etc. And then I'd lose interest. The next idea I got was I was so fed up of getting home late after work, and now I still have to cook, and takeaways was not an option. I can't buy takeaways, every night. It's expensive, but it's not healthy. It's for the healthy reason I didn't want to buy takeaways. And back then, there wasn't this infinite supply of homemade meals that we have today. So I think it was about 2 years before it really became very popular to buy ready-made meals. I had the inspiration for that. So I did the research on disposable cutlery and containers and everything, wrote the business plan, etc. And like that, I got a lot of inspiration. So that is how I feel law of attraction works. I have the desire to have my own business. And yes, I was receiving what I wanted back then. It was inspiration, ideas, right? But at some point, I realized that, yes, this business is going to be a success. I mean, if I continued with that ready homemade meals, I would probably be very successful in that, industry. But what I realized was it's not my passion. I don't feel like I'm doing it for the right reasons. I will do it, yes, because it's a great idea. It will be successful. I will make a lot of money. But that I knew for a fact, after a few years, I'm going to feel miserable. I'm going to be, feeling the same way that I was feeling back then. I won't have that sense of fulfillment. So it's very important that you do something that really speaks to your purpose. All right, so to continue with the book, get rid of the idea that God wants you to sacrifice yourself for others and that you can secure his favor by doing so. God requires nothing of the kind. What he wants is that you should make the most of yourself, for yourself and for others. And you can help others more by making the most of yourself than in any other way. Okay. Then you need not hesitate about asking largely. It is your Father's pleasure to give you the kingdom, said Jesus. If you fix upon your consciousness the fact, the desire you feel for the possession of riches is one with the desire of omnipotence for more complete expression, your faith becomes invincible. Now, I love again how he uses wordplay. In one moment he would use God and original substance, and then he would say omnipotence, omnipotence. So the desire that you have within you to be financially free, to have abundance and have success. The reason why that's a burning desire is because you are one with that omnipotence for more complete expression. Coming back to the first few chapters, that everything in life seeks expression for more. So if you believe that, if your faith is hooked into that, you will become invincible. So you need not hesitate to ask largely. Then we get to chapter 7, gratitude. And the reason simply is that the mental attitude of gratitude draws the mind into closer touch with the source from which the blessings come. Okay, so if you feel gratitude and you're grateful for something, it is actually pulling that thing towards you even more because you are connecting with the source of where that blessings came from. There is a law of gratitude, and it is absolutely necessary that you should observe the law if you are to get the results you seek. The law of gratitude is the natural principle that action and reaction are always equal and in opposite directions. The grateful outreach of the mind in thankful praise to the Supreme is a liberation or expenditure of force. It cannot fail to reach that to which it is addressed, and the reaction is an instantaneous movement towards you. Draw nigh unto God, and he will draw nigh unto you. That is a statement of psychological truth. This is powerful. And this is why we need to focus on gratitude, be thankful, be grateful, because the moment that you do, the law of action and reaction kicks in. We're always in equal and opposite directions. So if you are reaching out with gratitude, you are connecting and you get an instant movement back towards you. Powerful stuff. And it opens one's mind to think about these concepts a bit different. The creative power within us makes us into the image of that to which we give our attention. Also, faith is born of gratitude. The grateful mind continually expects good things, and expectation becomes faith. It is necessary then to cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. Now, the second sentence I want you to take cognizance of. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. We tend to say thank you for all the greatness, all the abundance, the love and the kindness, and how we are provided for. Every suffering and challenge that I've gone through in my life have brought me to this moment. It has made me who I am. It has made me who I want to become. So we need to give thanks to even the struggles. The person that challenges you the most will grow you the most. Be grateful. Be grateful for those things. It contributed to your advancement. Let that be food for thought. And then knowing what we want, thinking in a certain way. You must know what you want and be definite. You can never get rich or start the creative power into action by sending out unformed longings and vague desires. I think it was Bob Proctor who used the analogy of sitting in a restaurant and ordering a pizza. And then you look at the menu like, oh, no, now I'm in the mood for steak. And then you cancel that order and then you steak, one steak. And then, or you sit with the menu like, I'm list for something, salty. And it's way too vague. The kitchen will never know what to prepare for you if you're not very clear. That clear mental picture you must have continually in mind. You cannot change your order that you're putting out for. That which you ask for, you need to stick with it. Until when? Until you achieve it. Okay, but all you need to know what you want and to want it badly enough so that it will stay in your thoughts. The methods herein set forth are for people whose desire for riches is strong enough to overcome mental laziness and the love of ease and make them work. Okay, very important. These methods that you're listening to right now is only for those who desires your success and your riches and your financial freedom so much that you are going to overcome your own mental laziness. Why? Because he said this work is probably going to be the hardest work that you ever have to do because it takes a lot of focus, a lot of energy. Behind your clear vision must be the purpose to realize it, to bring it out in tangible expression. You can't just wish for it but behind the scenes you think, oh, something never going to happen. I will never have the time, you know. You need to have that purpose that you're going to make it work. And behind this purpose must be an invincible and unwavering faith that the thing is already yours. Whosoever things ye ask for when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Make use of them in imagination, just as you will use them when they are your tangible possessions. In our last session, I spoke about embodiment. So this for me touches on that. To live as if it is already yours. Hold to this mental ownership. Do not waver for an instant in the faith that it is real. So yes, some people are going to think that you're crazy, and who cares? All right, people might think I'm crazy for many reasons, and you know what? I just don't care. Use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in a certain way. Do not try to project your will or your thoughts or your mind out into space to act on things or people. So how I see this is you have to use your mind to give you inspiration and ideas. You don't want to imagine it being taken away from maybe someone else, or somehow it coming to you through some unethical way, perhaps. You know, that's how I see it. You're not projecting it out there to act kind of on your behalf. You only make positive impressions. All the promises are unto them that believe, and unto them only. Okay, so notice how insistent Jesus was upon this point of belief. And now you know the reason why. Okay, all the promises are unto them that believe, and only unto them. And that's why this work is hard work. Your faith and purpose positively impress your vision upon formless substance, which has the same desire for more life than you have. Okay, so it's very important to keep that mental picture. Put your whole mind into present action. You can act only where you are. But act upon your present environment with all your heart and with all your strength and with all your mind. Do not cast about seeking some new thing to do or unusual. So what that means is, even though maybe I wanted to have my own business, still do your best in your job where you are now. You know, give your all, give your best, be your best version of you. You don't necessarily have to go and find something else. You know, for myself, if I use this in my own example, whatever I want to achieve, it's not that I have to necessarily think up new courses to do and new ideas. If that inspiration comes, I will act upon them. But what he's referring to is, in your present moment, you do the best that you can do every single day with what you have right in front of you. And do every day all that can be done that day. So it's not just sitting back and relaxing, it's do your best. With everything that you do, give your best. And it's about the energy that you're putting into something. If you are putting out your best, that is what you are going to receive. Cause and effect, law of cause and effect playing in there again. What you give is what you will get. The matter turns then on the question whether you can make each separate act a success in itself. Every action is either strong or weak. And when everyone is strong, you are acting in a certain way which will make you rich. Every act can be made strong and efficient by holding your vision while you are doing it and putting the whole power of your faith and purpose into it, which means I had the vision of having my own coaching practice eventually, having my own business. But what he's saying is how you act in that day is the energy that you're putting out. So every act can be made strong and efficient. So even though I'm not or I weren't in my coaching practice yet, the fact that you were doing your best that day whilst holding that vision is growing your faith, and you're putting power into that vision, into that purpose. Because he believes that there's a science to getting rich, and it is thinking and doing things in a very specific way. And this is one of the ways that he says to be very specific and do everything well. The next one is about, when we give service to others. He says, see that you give them a use value greater than the cash value you're taking from them. People will go where they are given increase, and the supreme, is another word again, which desires increase in all and which knows all, will move toward you men and women who have never heard of you. And this is probably the reason. Well, I haven't read this before I did this manifestation masterclass. So this manifestation masterclass was supposed to be a live paid for, course, because it would be lovely to have interaction, while I'm doing these masterclasses. But when I didn't get signups, where the old me would have said, you know what, it didn't work, I'll try it next time. I decided I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to give all the value that I possibly can because I want to, and because I feel it is a way for myself to grow also with others, because I learn and grow through this process as much as every one of you that is listening to this video. So yes, do everything that you do. Give value, because people are drawn towards this expenditure, this increase of energy and of growth. So that will bring people towards you. Look out for the temptation to seek for authority, to become a master, to be considered as one who is above the common herd. All right. So back in the day, many years ago, I had this wish to be famous. It was something that was just always on my mind when I was younger. I want to be a famous singer, and I wanted to be a famous model, and then I wanted to be a famous motivational speaker. And somewhere in my personal growth and my journey, I realized that the reason I wanted that wasn't the real or the right reasons. I wanted to be famous. Why? Because I was a very shy kid, in school. Nobody knew me. Like I had this, I think that desire came from that wantingness, to be popular. And when I realized that actually it's not about being famous, I don't really care. So be careful not to move into that competitive, he calls it the competitive mind. There's no need to compete because there is only abundance, remember? Then he says, because he's beware of the competitive mind. The golden rule, Jones of Toledo said, what I want for myself, I want for everybody. And that is my intention. All right, so you are concerned with doing today's work in a perfect, successful manner and not with emergencies which may arise tomorrow. You can attend to them as they come. How nice is this? Let go of the anxiety, the worry, what you need to do tomorrow still, what you haven't done yet. Be present. Become present. You are concerned with doing today's work in a perfectly successful manner and not with emergencies which may arise tomorrow. You can attend to them as they come. It's important that your energy is present. Okay, so when you do these things in a successful manner, it means you're doing it in that moment, in presence, with intention, not whilst you're thinking of everything that you still need to do or you haven't done yet. Guard your speech. Never speak of yourself, your affairs, or anything else in a discouraged or discouraging way. Times may be hard and business doubtful for those who are on the competitive plane, but they can never be so for you. You can create what you want, and you are above fear. So one of my friends and colleagues, coach, she taught me this affirmation. Even though the current situation is not ideal, in this moment right now, everything is okay. So that helps me quite a lot. Okay, so never speak of yourself. Even though it's not going well, you don't have to tell the story. You don't have to. Okay, you don't have to repeat the story every single person that you meet. You don't have to say out loud that I'm broke, I don't have money, or oh, things are so tough, I'm so stressed. Do not guard your speech. If you want to let this become a reality for you, you have to put a guard in front of your mouth. Very important. Okay. Then to summarize, I'm going to read you the summary of this book. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspace of the universe. A thought in its substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless stuff or substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. Otherwise, he cannot be in harmony with the formless intelligence, which is always creative and never competitive in spirit. Man may come into full harmony with the formless substance by entertaining a lively and sincere gratitude for the blessings it bestows upon him. Gratitude unifies the mind of man with the intelligence of substance, so that man's thoughts are received by the formless. Man can remain upon the creative plane only by uniting himself with the formless intelligence through a deep and continuous feeling of gratitude. Man must form a clear and definite mental image of the things he wishes to have, to do, or to become, and he must hold this mental image in his thoughts while being deeply grateful to the Supreme that all his desires are granted to him. The man who wishes to get rich must spend his leisure hours in contemplating his vision, in his earnest thanksgiving that the reality is being given to him. Too much stress cannot be laid on the importance of frequent contemplation of the mental image, coupled with unwavering faith and devout gratitude. This is for the process by which the impression is given to the formless and the creative forces set in motion. The creative energy works through the established channels of natural growth and of the industrial and social order. All that is included in his mental image will surely be brought to the man who follows the instructions given above and whose faith does not waver. What he wants will come to him through the ways of established trade and commerce. In order to receive his own when it shall come to him, man must be active, and this activity can only consist in more than filling his present place. He must keep in mind the purpose to get rich through the realization that is of his mental image. And he must do every day all that can be done that day, taking care to do each act in a successful manner. He must give to every man a use value in excess of the cash value he receives, so that each transaction makes for more life. And he must so hold the advancing thought that the impression of increase will be communicated to all with whom he comes into contact. The men and women who practice the foregoing instructions will certainly get rich, and the riches they receive will be in exact proportion to the definiteness of their vision, the fixity of their purpose, and the steadiness of their faith, and the depth of their gratitude. So yes, that was today's session, the science of getting rich. And I hope that you've made some notes, and I know that if you follow these steps, and we will go into each one of them also a bit deeper as we go through this journey together to really unpack, what he's talking about, and also other teachings. I will share some other books, that I've read. There's quite a few that changed my life completely and changed my perspective. And I would love to share those with you as well. So yes, thank you for being in this video with me again, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Bye.